time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
That's right. We are doing it live here on this Monday, recapping the weekend that was in the world of sports and around Pirate Nation.
Do it live!
Patrick Johnson, Philip the Ref Pilkington is here. Nice to have you with us on, what is today, the 18th of May. Hard to believe already. So, ECU sharing a piece of the regular season conference championship. Good sweep this weekend at FAU. Team getting to spend a little bit of time in sunny South Florida before leaving tomorrow to go to the Gulf Coast. Not a bad assignment. So they'll head there. They'll do that. And we, of course, will get you ready today. Are the Pirates, after the sweep in the NCAA tournament? We'll ask Jonathan Wagner from on3.com. They seem like everybody is. By the way, I spilled a little water on my shirt before we got on there. For the vast video audience, that's what's going on. Not sweating, or I didn't drop a greasy stain of food.
No
I
coffee.
did have some amazing peel and eat shrimp for lunch today, Pilk.
Way to rub it in.
Amazing. It's so good. And, yeah, so Jonathan Wagner, a lot of people have East Carolina in, kind of in that last four in department. Where will Wag see UTSA landing? UAB, who took 2 out of 3 from UTSA this weekend. Where might they wind up? And how might some of the ACC team? Anyway, we'll talk to Jonathan Wagner about that coming up from on3.com. Looking forward to that. Let's see here, Pilk. I was sort of interested to see this weekend that one of our alums, we like it when our alums do big things. We got a lot of alums from the IBX Media tree and from the ever-growing Patrick Johnson Show tree. There are, alums out like Cookie, who's a big TV reporting star on Channel 7. He got his start here. I didn't realize a couple things. One, that Cookie's a Disney adult. I didn't realize that. I'm not here to judge.
I don't think he is.
Well, I give you Exhibit A. Cookie got engaged this weekend, so we congratulate him on that. That's exciting. Yeah. We're slow on the uptick. And we're very happy for Cookie to get engaged. I have a simple rule when it comes to engagements and marriage. I will not discourage you from getting engaged or getting married, but I sure as hell will not encourage you to get engaged or get married.
Fair enough.
Let you draw your own conclusions there. But anyway, Cookie did get engaged, and I think that's exciting, but he did it at Disney.
Okay, yeah, you're a
did he
Disney
do
adult
it-
if you do it at Disney.
Yeah. Not only did he do it at Disney, Pilk, like there was a whole production involved and Disney props and all of this. So Cookie, I've met Cookie's lady a couple times. She seems like a sweet, sweet lady. He got engaged. So, yeah, but Cookie's a Disney adult. Nobody's perfect.
Everybody's going to have their one flaw, right?
Everybody's got their one flaw in the whole situation. All right, let's do the top 5 at 5. We'll get to Wags as well. Some of the top stories that were heading into. How much Cliff Godwin audio do you have, or how much ECU postgame audio do you have? Do you have some? Do you have a cut?
I have some. We're gonna hear from Luke Payne after his good performance. I can pull up some others if I need to, but that's what I had.
I got a couple. I got a couple here, but anyway, all right, let's do it.
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard.
You ready?
Or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5.
Yeah, the hell with that. 5 at 5.
Number 1.
As Patrick jumps the gun, the Pirates did sweep the FAU Owls this past weekend. It was Ryan Towers Friday night Ethan Norby on Saturday, and Luke Payne, who has settled in quite nicely as the Sunday starter, talked about being a starter over a reliever.
Yeah, I really enjoy starting. It just kind of gives you that comfort knowing that you're going to go out there and be able to have a little bit of a longer outing, whereas relieving, you never know if you're coming in for just one guy. And so, yeah, it's much more comfortable for me to go out and start a game and just find the groove and work my way through it, and I love it.
Let's see here. This is Cliff Godwin after the win.
Our guys came ready to play. Payne was awesome, and our offense was really, really good, and just never let up, and super proud of our guys because came in here, we wanted to control our own destiny, and we've done that.
So now it is on to Clearwater, Florida. Grady Linehan on that.
We're really excited for it, and we're going to put in some work over the next couple of days and be ready to go.
All right, so there you have it. That is the deal. All right, so swept, as my friend Brooke said to me over the weekend, it always seems like ECU wins this time of year. In other words, they get the act together and get going. At least that's been the case the last couple of years. And so we will see. I think certainly getting the bye to Friday is very helpful because it does allow you to set your pitching, which right now, lost in the Ethan Page performance. You mentioned Towers and you mentioned Norby, but those two guys were outstanding. Towers pitching off the fastball, and even Ethan Norby is as well. Neither guy has really gone to plus secondary stuff a whole lot over the last couple of outings, or at least this past weekend, because they were able to pitch off their fastball effectively and dot that for strikes effectively. Both guys were outstanding. So that's a good thing, and here we go. We will now see what happens in Clearwater. Has ECU done enough to get in? Odds are that they have Pilk, I think, mid-40s on the RPI now, 33 wins. I do think you feel really good about your case if you pick up a win or two this week. But, no, I think the Pirates are firmly in. And I don't know how – I mean, it's kind of a unique bubble year. Some years there are teams with mid-30s, maybe even upper 30 win totals that are left on the outside looking in or are really on the bubble and really nervous.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a little bit of a, as far as resume, and maybe a little bit of a softer bubble. Doesn't mean that it's not a crowded bubble, but just maybe a little bit of a softer bubble this year. And then, so you might be able to get in. I do think 0-2 would make you real nervous about next Monday. But I think you pick up a win, possibly two. Maybe if you get to the finals of the tournament, you're I think practically insured a trip to the dance. What are your thoughts on this?
I think the tough thing and what worries me is a lot of leagues have gone to single elimination and we have not. And how much does the committee reward you for winning, or how much do they punish you for losing? Right? So if you go 2-0 and you get to that championship game unscathed, at worst you lose a game. What worries me is what happens if you go 3-2? What happens if you drop a game early, find yourself in the championship, and lose said championship? 3-2 is still a pretty good weekend, but what if somebody in another league only goes 2-1? They still only won one more game they lost, but are they going to punish more for wins, or punish more for losses, or reward more for wins? I don't know. That's going to be the tough thing.
There are what I think you have to worry about are who are the bid stealers, and we'll ask Wags this coming up. And is LSU a bid stealer? Because they weren't the number one team coming into the year of the preseason. They were certainly top 5.
Yeah. And
essentially their coach this weekend sat his entire starting pitching rotation. And they got bombed by Florida, but he wants to have them rested and ready to go as they go into the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
So who are those teams that could be a bid stealer? Is LSU a possibility? I don't think they are, but who knows? They haven't figured it out this year. Who's somebody to keep an eye on out of the Big 12, maybe Big 10, the ACC, those other – so we'll ask Wags this. You have to be worried about it at this point.
I think where you're really going to be worried is the leagues where they've had one team probably earn an at-large spot, like a Mercer. It looks like they're in regardless. What if they don't win their conference tournament? I think that's where, I mean, not saying it can't happen from the big leagues, but there's a couple of these smaller leagues. Even look at Conference USA. They're going to have 3 bids. That's great. What happens if Dallas Baptist jumps up and steals?
The only reason I mentioned the ACC and the SEC, because there's at least a depth of talent in that league that
there is.
As unlikely as it is, somebody who is not in right now could come up and win the conference and steal a conference tournament and steal a bid. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could. But I hear what you're saying. In that case, and without knowing exactly who's on the bubble and who's firmly in, if somebody like a Dallas Baptist were to win, let's say that, my guess is whoever the third team out of that conference would be, maybe would get.
Good point.
Would get erased, maybe. I don't know. But what happens in the Sun Belt, which is not the Sun Belt of old? It's a little down this year. So, so it's a little bit of a tenuous. I'll say this. I think you feel better right now if you're East Carolina rather than UAB, for sure.
Number 2.
Aaron Rai wins the PGA Championship by going at 9 under. He was the first Englishman to win the tournament since 1919. He was 3 strokes clear of Jon Rahm and Alex Smalley.
He also was the first international player to win the PGA Championship since Jason Day did it in 2015. What is interesting about this, Rai, by the way, is the guy that wears gloves on both hands. And he puts covers on his irons. And he does that, Pilkington, because his dad, when he was in high school, sacrificed and bought him an expensive pair of irons, like a good pair of irons for him to play golf. And so he covered them out of respect for the fact that his father sacrificed. So that's just something that's a little ode to his dad. Very cool. So, I mean, he seems like he's a very good guy to root for. I know he's won on the DP Tour. He won in Greensboro, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago. Sometime in the run here in his pro career, I think his other win was Sedgefield. The thing that is interesting about this past weekend to me is we were led to believe, and I think a lot of the guys playing in the tournament believe this was going to be a course where you could just power your way down and chip your way aboard and you'd be fine. That was not the case. It was a very challenging setup. PGA did a wonderful job with the setup, I thought. It was a Donald Ross course. I love the fact that they made the holes challenging. It's almost like it was the perfect setup. The first 2 days were really, really tough for scoring. Moving day, they allowed scoring, and then Sunday made it a challenge. And I have no problem with that. I think that's kind of what you got to do because it is a TV show still at the end of the day. The Jon Rahm thing is interesting because he had every chance. And then Cam Smith also looked really, really good. So we got the predictable think pieces about the demise of Liv. And by the way, the think pieces, usually a lot of times guys aren't thinking when they write a think piece. But, I was rooting for Rahm because I like the disruptive nature of all of this with the Liv guys. And it would have been cool to see a Liv guy get a major.
Especially that
would have that one because it would have defeated a little bit of the narrative that exists out there that those guys can't go. Hogwash. Ask those guys who played with and watched Rahm and Cameron Smith play this week and ask can those guys still go? Can Patrick Reed, who I know he's not playing on the Live anymore, but can he still play?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those guys can still play. I mean, it's hard to win golf tournaments. Hard to win. Thank God Rory did not win. Didn't he get somebody tossed for saying USA?
He's complaining about it post. I don't know if he got somebody. He may have, but
I don't understand how people root for him. He is a snotty whiner. I don't get it. And
I used to like the guy, 10 years ago.
I think more and more people are turning the corner and realizing he is a little B.
3.
At least I hope they are.
I think so. Number 3. Aaron Rodgers will return to the National Football League. He has signed a 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers that could be up to $25 million with incentives.
Well, I think this, Pilk. I believe that there was a little bit of question because his head coach, who he got along with very, very well, retired, whatever you want to call it, from Pittsburgh. And so there was some question about whether he would return to play for a guy he played for before.
Yeah.
He's comfortable doing that, quite obviously. And I do think he's still effective. And they made the playoffs, kind of did it in had a late season dramatic win, a lot of flair. Or was that a playoff win? Anyway, there was some drama
against the Ravens.
Season.
Yeah, Raven. Yeah.
That got him in. That got him in, didn't it? That game, if I'm not
whoever
mistaken,
won that game got in. I just couldn't remember who won the game. Yeah, but
Pittsburgh won the game. It was real dramatic and that kind. So I do think he could still go a little bit. I think it's a good thing for Pittsburgh. I don't know if they make the postseason this year. They've got that string going. It would be sweet, sweet irony if they did it going 9-8, because that's kind of what they do. That's their move here in recent years, is to go 9-8. But I think on the whole, that's a good thing for football. I mean, look, it's no different than any other sport. It needs stars, and Aaron Rodgers is a name, is a household name, and is a star.
Moves the needle one way or another. Love him or hate him, he moves the needle.
Moves the needle, and that's what it's all about. Let's see. Are we moving on to next? Are we got something next? All right.
Yeah.
4.
All righty, number 4. You mentioned LSU earlier when we were talking about baseball. Let's talk about a little LSU basketball. They have agreed to terms with Yam Madar, who played college basketball ages ago and was drafted by the Celtics, I believe, in 2020 with the 46 picks of the draft. He has been playing overseas since. He is 25 years old. This is a 5-year deal, or not 5 years, sorry, $5 million deal between LSU and Madar, but the NCAA has to grant him another year of eligibility. He has not played 4 years of college basketball, but he just played a long time ago and has been a pro athlete for some time now.
He also served in the military, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that part of his story, too? Why, one of the reasons, I guess he's a little olderish.
Let me look.
I think that is what I read earlier this afternoon.
Okay.
I think he's done some military service as well. There are European guys all the time that come over and play in college basketball. Hell, we've got one coming to Greenville. He's younger, considerably younger. But a guy who played in Europe is coming to play on Mike Schwartz's roster. So I think when you look at that, that's not unusual, but it's another case of a guy who was drafted by your Celtics and did he have a two-way contract? It's just going to be interesting to see, will the NCAA grant this or not because of that I mean, look what happened with the deal with Alabama. And if I'm not mistaken, did anything really happen to Nate Oates? I mean, were there any sanctions
or
anything against Alabama? I mean, they were in the tournament. So, but the NCAA just passed this thing of certain age by the time you graduate, and I mean that dictates your eligibility and and there's still the 5-year thing hanging out there. So I just. Goodman from the Field of 68 says, which I guess is about to become the Field of 76. The Field of 68 says, the NCAA should not grant him eligibility. I know this. I don't think they're really lining up to go to Baton Rouge to play, so Will Wade better hope that this kid will go and be allowed to play.
He better hope for something.
But look, if they're paying $5 million, though,
yeah.
If I were on the hook somewhere else, I might.
Yeah. Well, portal's closed now. You can't get out. You can't get out of your current situation anymore.
Yeah, you can't. There's got to be some guys though that are still in the portal.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I can't. I don't know why they haven't announced any of it. And I mean, I think it kind of is trickling out in a lot of places, but I mean, there's not really been any social media announcements for any of this. Mm-mm. Should they let this guy be eligible, Pilk? What do you say?
No.
What's your ruling on this?
No. Okay. The whole thing is once you enter the draft, you can come back, but once you've entered and you're gone. No.
Okay. You could put your name in, and then
there's like a withdrawal date, isn't there?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he
something
passed
like
that withdrawal date because he actually got picked.
He's been drafted among the top 40 some odd players of that year's draft.
5.
Alrighty, number 5, some interesting stuff and not good going on in Greenville. J.H. Rose will be without their soccer coach as the school district has suspended Coach Kurt Garner. He is suspending with pay, but this is pending an ongoing personal matter, is what this says. He is a CT and business teacher at the school and is the varsity girls softball coach. They will be playing White Oak in the playoffs tonight.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate for those girls to have that distraction. And there's a lot of rumor and innuendo circling around out there, so we won't address that till there's an official word on it. So I feel badly for the kids in this particular matter. Friday might go down in Pitt County baseball lore as like Black Friday, because all 4 high-seeded baseball teams, Pilk, lost at home. Conley, the number 1 seed in the 7A East. Rose, the number 1 seed in the 6A East. Aiden Grifton was the number 1 seed in the 3A East. They lost to Whiteville, as they say down there. And actually, I didn't put enough syllables in it, but that's how they say that in Cocoa. And then South Central, who had a lead also and was the 2 seed, lost to Cardinal Gibbons.
Yeah.
Farmville's softball team lost, but how about Conley and Rose, their softball teams at 7A and 6A? Conley won. They beat Cleveland in a really good game. I think it might have gone extras. And then Rose, for the first time ever, gets to the Eastern Regional Finals in softball. My guy, Keita Sneed. How about that? Isn't that's exciting, isn't it? The one good thing about the expansion of the playoffs is you get some neat stories like that with Rose. So I hope the 2 local teams, Coach Deans and Conley and Coach Sneed and Rose, advance on. But I feel awful for these young ladies on the Rose soccer team. That's a really
late in your season. You're just worried about winning games,
that's
and now you've got
distraction.
Yeah,
it's a bad distraction, and I feel badly for them. All right, we are going to hit a break. When we come back, Wags, Jonathan Wagner on 3. There he is, playoff beard and all. Our Carolina Hurricanes, by the way, are playing Thursday. They'll know who they will play after tonight, so we'll get Wags' opinion on that. But we'll find out, are the Pirates in the field of 64 next?
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville, do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Oh, hey. Welcome back.
Oh, who's back reporting for duty?
You got here just in time.
Holy nuts, man.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right. We turn our attention now to the final projection before Selection Monday, at least the final Monday projections from Jonathan Wagner from On 3. ECU alum and writer-editor for on3.com. Wags, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
We're great. Thank you for coming back on the show. Let's cut right to the chase. Are the Pirates in the on3.com projections for this final Monday after the regular season before the start of the conference tournament season?
Yes, they are. ECU is in the field. They're in as one of my last four in. They are my second to last team in the field, so 63rd overall seed. But, I had them out last week, mostly because I just didn't think they could go and sweep FAU like they did. But they proved me wrong, and that was big. It put them back in position, and it earned them a double bye to Friday. And just having the co-champions regular season of the American on your resume is kind of that boost I think ECU's been needing. So, yeah, I have them in. They are far from secure, but for right now they are in, and they're hoping that, honestly, things go pretty chalk this week around the country.
What does ECU have to do outside of winning the conference tournament to, in your opinion, secure an at-large bid? What work is left?
A lot of it depends on what happens elsewhere. Because if ECU goes 0-2, you might say on the surface that, they're probably done. But, if another team that's on the bubble goes over and they're out without winning a game, it kind of evens out. Now, like Philip was saying earlier, the thing that works against ECU is that they can lose twice. And a lot of the other conferences around the country have moved to single elimination. So that could hurt ECU. But if ECU can just go and make it to the championship game, I feel pretty good that they're going to get in. But it really just depends on what happens elsewhere. How many bids are stolen? Because I have ECU as my second to last team in. So on paper, that means if two bids get stolen, then that could change. But ECU can also change things for themselves if they have a good week or a good weekend, I guess, since they don't play until Friday.
Outside of, again, winning the conference tournament, it would seem to me that 2 wins and getting to the finals, that gives you 35 victories. That's usually kind of the threshold, especially if you have a reputation like East Carolina. You do have some of the metrics with RPI and some of the other things. You have a quality win over North Carolina. So I think when you look at that, it would seem like 2 wins, and you got to be feeling pretty good a week from today.
Yeah, I agree. 2 wins gets you to the championship game. So, you play on Friday. If you win, you play on Saturday. And if you win on Saturday, you play on Sunday. So at least that's my understanding of the bracket. So 2 wins, you feel pretty good again. So the bracket's kind of confusing, just looking at it.
You need an advanced degree.
But yeah,
you need an advanced degree to figure out this bracket. I wonder, it took so long. It took so long for the American to kind of adopt that bye situation with the double bye in the case of the top 2 seeds. I kind of do wonder is the next logical step to make it a single elimination deal, because and you're right, Philip's point was spot on. There's a possibility you have a couple losses this week. You may have a couple wins, maybe 3 wins, but there is a chance that you would have 2 losses, and would that kind of come back to bite you? And look, UTSA is kind of facing the same thing. UAB, who I guess is kind of on the bubbles, facing the same thing. So it'll be interesting to see what the American does and how quickly they react to that. I think a lot of what happens with the selection process will go a long way in determining what's next for the American tournament. Jonathan Wagner on 3.com is with us here. So right now, ECU in, if the selection show were tonight, let's just say. I'm assuming UTSA is pretty solidly in. Where's UAB on this as well?
Yeah, UTSA is my projected American champion. I kept them just since they have the head-to-head against ECU, and they finished tied in the regular season. But UTSA, I'll be completely honest, I'm not fully sold on them if there is a bid stolen or if ECU wins that UTSA is 100% safe.
Sure.
You know, their RPI is in the 50s. Their strength of schedule is awful. It's out of the top 100. So I think that could get tricky for UTSA if they don't win. But, you know, they are in for now. They are a 3 seed. UTSA I have in Texas A&M in their regional. ECU I have in the Georgia Tech regional. So that's a pretty tough draw for both of them. But UAB, they were in my next 4 out. And the path for UAB is pretty tough because I don't think getting to the championship game and alone is going to be enough for them. Their RPI is, I believe, at 659 coming into today. So 59.
Gotcha.
They're 7 games above 500, 15 wins in the American. So the bubble's still pretty weak, I would say, but it's less weak than it was last week. And again, that can change. Like this time next week, it's completely different, and we're talking about a really good bubble because a whole bunch of bids got stolen. So UAB is out, and I don't really know if I see the path for them unless they, you know, obviously earn the automatic bid.
You had ECU's the 63rd seed, so I probably should ask you, because this is kind of worth paying attention to. Who are your last 4 in, and then the next 4 out, and then whatever the other grouping is? How deep does it legitimately go for, you know, teams that could move up?
Yeah, so my last 4 in, my 61st seed is Arizona State, but I feel pretty good about them getting in. Their RPI just plummeted to 48, but they finished. They're the 3rd seed in the Big 12 in their tournament this week. So I don't feel like they're going to fall out, and it just kind of right above the bubble felt pretty strong to me. You know, Kentucky was also in that consideration, you know, teams like that. But then NC State with my 62nd seed, NC State is in danger. You know, they need to win a couple games in the ACC tournament or they are very much in danger of falling out. East Carolina is 63. Virginia Tech is my last team in at 64. Same thing with them. It's, you know, their RPI is down in the 40s now, 47. So Virginia Tech, they also need chalk and they need to win some games themselves. But first 4 out, I have Michigan, who was in last week. They got swept by Ohio State, Troy, Southeast Missouri, SEMO, and Purdue. And next 4 out, UAB, Vanderbilt, Kent State, and Baylor. And there were a couple more. Western Carolina was considered in that group as well, because I don't have them as the projected SoCon champion anymore either.
Okay. And that was UNC Asheville, you say? Unca?
Western Carolina.
Oh, Western Carolina. I'm sorry. Western Carolina. Sorry. I was talking to somebody else about UNC Asheville today. That's why they were on the mind. Okay. Interesting. Good stuff there from Jonathan Wagner. All right. Let's talk the ACC. They're gone to a single elimination tournament. A team that beat beat East Carolina this year was Duke, and if not for a late Clemson run, would have the Tigers would have been the last place team, but Duke's the last place team. And I covered a few Duke games this year. I thought they were could be a dangerous team. They could be a tough team to deal with. And I understand they kind of tailspin near the end of the year. Totally get that. But how deep would you say that tournament is? And right now, I mean, you sort of noted State, who plays Duke in the opening game for them, needs a big week. Virginia Tech needs a big week in Charlotte. How deep does that field go?
Well, I don't love the ACC is really good at the top in the top three. Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Florida State, all really good teams, all potential top 8 seeds. But after that, Wake Forest is in the hosting conversation, and then that's it in terms of hosts. Virginia's not in that conversation anymore for me. Boston College, Miami, those are all 2 seeds, and then NC State and Virginia Tech on the bubble. But the ACC isn't all that good, to be completely honest with you. You have your top 6 teams, I think. You have 6 teams, I believe, in the ACC that finished above 500 in the regular season. And it's kind of crazy to me. But the bottom of that league is really, really bad. Stanford is the 12th seed, and Stanford's not good. Clemson's not good. Like you said, Duke's not good. So the ACC, it makes it interesting, though, because, if one of those teams goes on a run, a team below Virginia Tech, someone like Notre Dame, Pitt, Cal, all teams within striking distance RPI-wise, but the rest of the resume doesn't look all that good. But if one of them goes on a run, then that could change things too.
Jonathan Wagner on 3.com. How about the SEC?
The SEC is very interesting, I will say, because you have Georgia at the top, who won the league by 4.5 games. Then you have Texas A&M, both 2 teams I like a lot. I like Florida a lot, and I love Auburn. And then you have Alabama, Mississippi State. Ole Miss is probably a tier below, but I still had Ole Miss hosting as my final host, as my 16th seed this week. But then Arkansas has turned it on. They've gotten hot. Oklahoma is trending the wrong direction. Kentucky's also trending the wrong direction. So those 2 teams don't scare me a whole lot. But then Tennessee at the same time is trending upward. So they're kind of turning back into, Tennessee baseball, where you don't want to see them in your regional. So they've got 12 teams in the field for me, and 8 of them were hosting. And Ole Miss was it's a very crowded competition to host right now in the last 2 or 3 spots. Mississippi State, I think, was my 14th seed. Ole Miss was 16. So that could change. Arkansas, I think, could play into host. So the SEC is pretty good. Those top teams are really good. And even those teams, like I said, the Tennessees of the world are also pretty good and trending upwards. So the SEC is pretty good, like it always is.
What's the story on Coastal Carolina? And there's kind of indications today that Kevin Schnall appears to be the guy who's going to be the next coach at South Carolina by, all the rumor mill that is kind of blowing around out there. With that said, for the here and now, what do you see out of Coastal? Because for a while they were in the national seed conversation. That was, I realized, a couple months ago maybe. And they've hit some skids here and they've had injuries. But where's Coastal in this? And I only bring this up because I think Pirate fans view the 2 programs as kind of a rival and very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Coastal, I think 3-4 weeks ago was a top 10 seed for me and pushing for the top 8. And it's, they've dealt with so many injuries. It's a story that we've heard time and time again. But, that team got healthy over the last final weeks. They got Cameron Flukie back, and Flukie didn't look all that good. But it feels like as the season went on and they did get a couple guys back, they got worse. So it's crazy. But I don't think they have a path to host unless they win the Sun Belt tournament. Then maybe they can. But they're my 24th seed, and I feel pretty good about the teams in front of them being in front of them. But, Coastal, I had them as a 2 seed going to Tallahassee, play Florida State in that regional. So it's weird. I always thought, they get Flukie, they get some of those guys back, they're going to turn it on, but it feels like kind of the opposite happened. And I know they lost a couple more guys too, but it's a team that's definitely trending in the wrong direction, that's for sure.
Legitimate bid stealer?
Sorry, say that again?
Is LSU a legitimate bid stealer?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to, because I don't think they have a chance to go on a run, but yeah, I mean, LSU is not even close to the conversation of the tournament right now because they went 9-21
right, but I mean, I guess I'm
SEC.
saying, they set their starting pitching this against Florida. I mean, they did things to kind of set themselves up to go on a run in the tournament. But I mean, are they capable of that, or is this just not going to work out this year?
I mean, resting the starters was smart by them because they knew the regular season didn't matter anymore, and they know they have to win the tournament. But I I didn't see enough when they were healthy and they had everyone on the field to make me think they can go on a run. But in a tournament format like this, you never know. But I do think it's interesting. No team other than Tennessee or Vanderbilt has won the SEC tournament since 2021. It's alternated Vanderbilt, Tennessee in the past 4 years. And all those teams are pretty good. So you have to be really good to win the SEC tournament, and LSU is just not really good. So I don't see them doing it.
Jonathan Wagner on 3.com. Who are some of the bid stealers out there? I mean, teams you think that maybe are not, from a one bid league or are not in the field, but could go on a run and win their conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean, if you look around, there's a lot of leagues where, I look at the SoCon, the Southern Conference, and Mercer. They are in. RPI is 26. That conference is a potential bid steal. If someone like Western Carolina, who I do like that team a lot, if Western Carolina goes on a run, they win their tournament, they're out for me this week. They were just shy of the bubble. So Western Carolina, I would consider a bid stealer. And, Philip mentioned earlier, Dallas Baptist, Louisiana Tech, and Conference USA. I think those three teams ahead of them, Jacksonville State, Liberty, Missouri State, are all in and probably safely in because their RPI is in a good spot. So if Dallas Baptist, Louisiana Tech goes on a run, then they could. And then, who knows in the Sun Belt? Troy's playing pretty well right now. South Alabama, they were both out for me. And I had 4 bids in the Sun Belt, but none of them felt great. So that league could kind of cancel itself out a little bit if one of them goes. But it's interesting because I think the American could be a potential stolen bid as well if it's not UTSA or ECU. We've kind of seen, obviously UTSA did not look good against UAB this weekend, and ECU has been so up and down. So if someone like, even if it's UAB, they were out for me, or say someone like, it's always someone random in the American, it feels like. So say someone like Charlotte goes on a run, who I don't think is going to happen, but just as an example, the American could work out to be a stolen bid as well, because I don't think anybody outside of UTSA or ECU has a serious chance, but even UAB right there on the outside, they could push too and they can hit. So, that's a chance.
Well, and you talk about bid stealer. We're not even talking about Rice out of the American. They finished third, finished a little bit on an upswing. They've got great starting pitching. They got a guy in the dugout that knows a thing or two about getting to Omaha. He's done it before a few times. So I would, just from my standpoint, Rice seems like a dangerous team potentially in this thing. I'd be a little concerned about Rice because of the starting pitching.
Yeah, I agree. Rice is definitely in that group, and they were just shy. Their numbers just weren't good enough to consider bubble consideration for me.
Oh yeah, no. They're not an at-large team.
Yeah,
but they're not an at-large team, but they could go on a run. Yeah,
I agree. And of course that's who ECU would face on Friday if Rice beats the winner of FAU Wichita State. So there's a lot of stakes there. So another bid stealer I forgot about, Cal Poly in the Big West. They started really slow and then they kind of turned it on. UCSB Santa Barbara is in safely right now from the Big West, but if Cal Poly goes and they didn't finish far behind UCSB, they could steal a bid as well.
Yeah. I was looking at some Big West stuff today because I've seen what Fullerton, where Jason Dietrich is now, had done this year, and I think they finished 5th in the league. And anyway, that's a conversation for another day potentially. All right, so Wags, let's get your before we wrap up with baseball, let's get your thoughts on tonight. As a fellow Carolina Hurricanes Caniac, my Carolina Hurricane, your Carolina Hurricanes, Pilkington, you have no part of this conversation because you root for that team up north. But as a longstanding Caniac, much like yourself and other greats in American history like Abraham Lincoln and various astronauts and whoever, all Caniacs, big Caniacs, who would you rather see our Carolina Hurricanes play Thursday out of tonight? Who do you want to win tonight? Who are you rooting for?
I am rooting for the Buffalo Sabres. Just their goalies have been kind of hit or miss, and they don't have as much, I think, skill, star power as Montreal does. So I would rather see Buffalo, although it would be ironic if after all those years, Buffalo is the team that crushes the Canes' hopes and dreams in a year where they feel like they could do it.
Are you worried about rust?
Not with this team. This team feels like, in between the first and second round, they handled it really well, and obviously this is longer. But I think this team, they have a couple new dads on the team, so I think the rest is kind of worked in their favor, a little beat up. So with this team, I just feel like they're equipped to kind of overcome something like that.
Are you going to be able to go to any games? Have you worked this out yet? Have you made your plans?
I will be there on Saturday for Game 2. So I will be making my playoff debut.
Wow.
And if they win on Thursday and then lose on Saturday, I might just have to never go again and take one for the team.
No, I think you got. Look, they're 8-0, and if they were to win Thursday, they'd be 9-0. I mean, you got a 10-0. That'd be unprecedented. But I hear what you're saying. I'm excited you're going. Pilk, Pilk's going to the race. What do you think of this, Wags? Pilk going to NASCAR this weekend?
Instead of watching the semifinals of the American Conference Tournament. I can't believe it.
All right, give me your prediction for ECU. That was funny. Give me your prediction for ECU this week.
Yeah, I think ECU is set up well to make it to the championship game with Ryan Towers and Ethan Norby pitching. But after that, it's just, are we going to get two really good Luke Payne starts in a row? I'm not sure. And I still don't fully trust the bats to show up consistently enough. So I'm going to say they win 2 games, but they lose in the championship game.
And their name is called next Monday, yay or nay?
I'm going to say yay. I think that will be enough, and ECU will be happy and heading somewhere else to play baseball in 2 weekends from now.
Yep. All right, very good. Jonathan Wagner, Wags, with us here. I think we're going to try to get you on next Monday when we do our selection show special. So we'll get all that figured out. All right, there he is, the great good. Jonathan Wagner. He's the best. All right, on3.com. Check him out there. When we come back, more on the Patrick Johnson Show. We'll get you set for things ahead.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Need cash for a vacation? National Finance Company is here to help. For over 50 years, National Finance Company has been the small loan specialist with loans from $1,000 to $5,000 with low payments to meet your budget. We're in the business of getting you the cash you need today. Apply online for a loan at one of our convenient branch offices and get your money as fast as today. It's easy. Get the vacation cash you need. For extra cash, visit nfcmoney.com.
Listen up. He's talking now.
Sorry, thought we were vibing.
The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Quick segment here. Tomorrow, our old friend John McCormick, GM of the Greenville Yard Gnomes, will be on the program. We will talk about their upcoming season. Their home opener will be Saturday. All right, we'll come back, wrap up the show after these words.
The power of savings is yours at Greenville Toyota with powerful deals on our huge selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or the all-new RAV4, $279. Don't miss the power of savings at Greenville Toyota.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
The hunting and fishing event of the summer comes to the Greenville Convention Center, July 11th and 12th, bringing together the best hunting and fishing vendors, outfitters, and fishing experts, all under one roof. Special free events, including a mountain trout pond, indoor archery range, offshore fishing experience, interactive duck blind, and free seminars. Don't miss it. The Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo is July 11th and 12th.
With new Toyota trucks from $259 a month, you've got the power of savings at Greenville Toyota. Drive Tacomas $259 a month or Tundras only $399 a month at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
And now, the stunning conclusion.
Why is everyone screaming?
On 94.3 The Game.
All right. We'll see how everything shakes out tonight. The Canes, we know, are playing on Thursday, and they'll find out their opponent will be next. How about last night, Pill, Game 7 of a conference semifinal, and it was on exclusively Peacock on the
Prime
streaming
Video
platform. Now, or was it Prime? Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't much of a game because Cleveland, who were a lot of people's picks. In fact, a lot of people in the beginning of the season said the Eastern Conference will be New York and Cleveland, and guess what? It's New York and Cleveland. It wasn't because Detroit just got their doors blown off at home. Cleveland was outstanding. But you just wonder, in a time where these content, the streaming thing is so interesting because I heard an excerpt from a podcast, I guess with a TV producer who talked about, it's a little bit of a house of cards right now with the NFL rights and the networks, the big four networks, because they're not making the money back that they're paying for rights.
Yeah,
NBC's not. None of them are. They're just not. It's too much. And Roger Goodell is going to keep increasing those rights fees, and he has found a source of money that has unlimited money. Those are the streamers. Now, the streamers don't need all this content. They don't need that content to survive. They would like to have it. But even if it gets a little I would say in that round of negotiations, and this is where you have to be careful, I guess, if you're Roger Goodell, streamers don't need you. They really don't.
They don't.
They've got money to spend. But they also could tell you, because let's face it, the networks kind of need the NFL.
They do, and that's the tough thing right now. Say, for example, let's go with Netflix, right? Netflix, you sell to these ad agencies. Well, people are everywhere watching Netflix. People want to buy ads on Netflix. Do people want to buy ads on CBS? I mean, how often do you actually tune in and watch CBS? For the NFL, you do.
Right,
When's the last time you watched 60 Minutes?
Not for Elsbeth.
No.
Or FBI or CIA. Garbage. Thanks to Wags for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow with John McCormick, and have a great rest of your afternoon and evening, everybody.